There are over 300 Pokemon abilities as of the Teal Mask DLC. Most of these are different from each other, which gives Pokemon unique traits, but we sometimes see new abilities introduced that are copies of an old ability, and even ones introduced in the same gen that function identically. Sure, they may have just wanted a more fitting name on it, but I wanted to see just how many of these abilities were clones of each other. Now, I'm not going to include each ability that is similar. So even though the ability Immunity and Pastel Veil both prevent poison, Pastel Veil also protects your ally, making it function differently. We'll start off with the most obvious one and the inspiration for this idea. It's the abilities Vital Spirit and Insomnia. Different in concept, but identical in effect. These both have the effect of preventing sleep, even self-induced from rest. These were both introduced in Generation 3, meaning we had repeat abilities in the first games they were introduced. The main difference is the Pokemon who get each ability. The mons with Insomnia tend to fit the theme of spooky or nocturnal types who are likely to be up at night. Pokemon with Vital Spirit tend to be more energetic in comparison. They can't be put to sleep due to their vitality. And then we have Delibird. Originally having Vital Spirit when abilities were introduced, but over the generations of handing out presents, it seems some Delibird have developed a different reason for not being able to sleep. In Gen 5, we saw Delibird receive Insomnia as a hidden ability, adding to what a joke this mon seems to be. Two functionally identical abilities being slapped onto this mon. We all know Banded Hustle Delibird is the way to go though. I should also note Sweet Veil has the same effect as these two abilities, but also protects allies, making it a superior variation. Now most abilities can be ignored by Mold Breaker. This lets moves like Earthquake hit through Levitate, allows you to one-shot a mon through Sturdy, and even hit through Wonder Guard. When Reshiram and Zekrom were introduced, they received the signature abilities Turboblaze and Teravolt respectively. These have the same effect as Mold Breaker, and as far as I can tell, they don't have any advantage over Mold Breaker besides having a cooler name. Next, we have 3 abilities with identical effects. These are the abilities Dazzling, Queenly Majesty, and Armor Tail. They are all signature abilities as well. What these abilities do is protect the mon and its allies from opposing priority moves. These are pretty solid abilities, especially in doubles, as priority like Fake Out and Prankster moves are pretty nice to block. We see it as Serena and Farigiraf's preferred ability, while Bruxish is more of a singles mon that would usually prefer Strong Jaw to boost its stab psychic veins and coverage moves, although you still have to respect the possibility of Dazzling. Huge Power and Pure Power are effectively the same ability. While Pure Power is Medichamp's signature ability translating to Yoga Power, its effect of doubling the attack stat is shared with Huge Power. This is also different than doubling the base stat. This doubles the raw stat after EVs, natures, stat boosts, and anything else. So Azumarill's base 50 attack doesn't turn into a base 100. Fully invested in attack at level 100, Azu hits 436 attack, which is just higher than a fully invested Haxorus, who hits 432 in attack. So Azu hits 149 base attack if we go by the actual number. Anyways, I was researching if there are any differences between these abilities, and I saw in a few places that Huge Power will only boost your attack 1.5 times if acquired via Trace or any ability copying moves. Huge Power will double your attack regardless of this apparently. I tried testing it on Showdown, but they don't have this mechanic implemented, so I can't really confirm this. Let me know in the comments if this is true or not. Next we have the ability Mummy, which is exclusive to the Cofferegus line, and Lingering Aroma, which is only seen on male Linkaloin. Any Pokemon making direct contact to a mon with this ability will replace their ability with this one. So if you hit a Cofferegus with a contact move, you get Mummy, and same for Lingering Aroma. Obviously this name change is strictly for design since it wouldn't make sense for Oikoline to have the Mummy ability. These abilities don't work on every ability either. There are a lot of form-changing abilities that are immune to these effects. A cool tidbit I found was Mummy isn't affected by itself and Lingering Aroma and vice versa. So you wouldn't have to sit through all the pointless ability swaps if these mons were to go at it. The abilities Clear Body and White Smoke have identical functions in battle as they prevent stat reduction. They are immune to things like Intimidate and secondary effects that would drop stats like a Moonblast special attack drop. But they don't prevent self-inflicted drops from moves like Overheat. White Smoke did have an effect in game outside of battle, lowering wild Pokemon encounter rates until Gen 9. The ability Full Metal Body also works like these two abilities, but is a juiced up version that cannot be changed or suppressed. And it's unaffected by Mold Breaker, whereas White Smoke and Clear Body are. Filter, Solid Rock, and Prison Armor share the same characteristics that the previous 3 abilities do. They all reduce super effective damage by 25%, making them a pretty solid option. Solid Rock is seen on rock types and Camera Up, which is still fitting, while Filter was a signature ability of the Mr. Mime line and added on a couple steel types after. But Solid Rock and Filter are ignored by Mold Breaker like abilities and moves that ignore abilities. Prison Armor cannot be ignored, making it a stronger ability. Since it is a signature ability of the Necrozma forms, it makes sense that it would be a little different. I'm starting to see a clear trend here with this next ability clone. It's for the abilities Multiscale and Shadow Shield. They both have damage taken from damage dealing moves when the user has full HP. Shadow Shield just also has the added buff of not being ignored by Mold Breaker like abilities and moves. It seems like in Gen 7 they wanted to slap on some regular abilities to the legendary mons and not just give them pressure, but they also didn't want them to be just a name change. Rough Skin is an ability introduced in Generation 3. It was originally exclusive to the Sharpedo line, but found its way onto a couple of dragons in later gens. It originally inflicted damage to opposing Pokemon that hit it with a contact move for 1/16 of their max HP. This damage was buffed in Generation 4 to be 1/8. In Gen 5, the ability Iron Bars was introduced with the same effect as Rough Skin. It's clear the name is just to suit the mons, as this was exclusive to the Ferrothorn line, with Turgetomaro getting access to it a couple gens later. Now I'm going to go over a few quick ones that I don't find too interesting because there isn't really nuance. But if you are enjoying the video, make sure to hit that like button and leave a comment about ones I missed, or if you want a follow-up video covering abilities that are almost the same. We have Propeller Tail, the signature ability of Barraskewda, and Stalwart, the signature ability of the Duraludon line. They both ignore redirection effects of moves and abilities. They are doubles exclusive abilities and don't work like Mold Breaker. Cloud9 and Airlock both eliminate the effects of weather while the mon is in battle. Airlock is the signature ability of Rayquaza, but functions the same as Cloud9. They just wanted a cooler sounding and more fitting name for the ability of a Boxstar legendary. And it works with the dynamic between Rayquaza, Kyogre, and Groudon. Cloud9 is more of a carefree ability learned by mostly derpy Pokemon. Like, look at these derps. Wimp Boat and Emergency Exit are in the same boat as the previous abilities. They both switch the user out when they take damage that lowers their HP below half. There are a couple exceptions, but that's the gist of it. Wimp Boat is on Wimpod and is a more cowardly name than Emergency Exit, which is described as the mon sensing danger and switching. It definitely works better on Golisopod since its former signature move, First Impression, only activates the first turn out. So this pretty bad ability can still be decent sometimes. Moxie and Chilling Neigh both raise the user's attack stat by 1 stage upon attacking and KOing another mon. Chilling Neigh is only seen on Glastrier and is a fitting name for this steed, while a lot of mostly intimidating Pokemon get access to Moxie. Power of Alchemy on the Alolan Muck line is the same as Receiver on Passimian. They both allow the user to copy the ability of a defeated ally. I haven't really seen this ability used as it's a doubles only ability. Alolan Muck is really the only viable user since Passimian is an underwhelming mon in the format. It's also an ability that would take a lot of team support to pull off, and Alolan Muck already has other abilities that can be pretty useful instead of waiting to inherit one. Libero and Protean share the same characteristics. They change the type of the Pokemon before using a move to match the move's type. This grants the move a stab bonus if it is an attack, effectively granting all moves stab until it was changed in Gen 9 to only change the user's type during the first move they use when they come out. Alolan Dugtrio's signature ability Tangling Hair shares the same properties as Goodra's Gooey. Contact with a Pokemon with these abilities lowers your speed. Wugtrio got access to Gooey too, which is pretty funny to me. It doesn't seem like a great ability to put on these fast and feral mons. Cotton Down is also similar, but it lowers everybody's speed. So those are mostly all the abilities that function the same. Let me know if you want me to make another video covering abilities that are almost the same, like the starter abilities and mirroring abilities like Defiant and Competitive. There are a decent amount of them, so it would be pretty interesting to go over them. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out this one next. Thanks for watching, buds.